Steam's spring sale has finally rolled out the red carpet, and all the deals have come pouring out of the gates. This is when everyone's bank accounts start to cry as that balance keeps going down, and I'm here to make sure that number just gets smaller. I've gone through a whole heap of games in the sale and pulled out my top 15 that I would recommend to anyone as must-play indie releases. These will be in discount order, so the higher the discount, the later we'll see them in the video. Let me know if you've picked up any of the games in the sale so far, and let's get this list started. Starting us off with a game that has not long been released out of early access and released into the full game world. We have Coral Island, a beautiful farming and life sim game that's bound to get you excited if you enjoy slowly building up from nothing but a few tomato seeds until you have your own vineyard, farm animals making you smile daily, and the ability to just do whatever you want each and every day. Coral Island to me is like the younger sister to Stardew Valley. You can see what Stardew has done for the genre, and I'm a huge fan of how Coral Island became its own game from under the valley. Sure, it still has some issues here and there, mainly the fact it can't be fully completed yet, but hey, that's fine. I'll just be finding my future husband or wife on this surreal island that brings joy wherever I look. I'm so used to seeing this game at the end of everyone's game lists. Normally voted as Game of the Year or the game everyone is most excited about. Hey, even I did it last year in my pixel art games list, but the discount isn't as high as some of the others. This is Sea of Stars, an absolute stunning turn-based RPG, and believe me when I say that the hype was real. This for me was my Game of the Year last year in 2023. And I would recommend this to anyone who enjoys classic RPGs. Sea of Stars sees two young heroes travel to save the world. You'll have companions join you as you head from island to island, and the twists and turns in the game actually made me gasp. They made me mad, and they also made me cry. Sea of Stars is a masterpiece waiting to be played by more and more people. The story alone should be a reason to play, but everything else just makes it so much better. If you do play, make sure to do the post-game objectives. You'll thank me afterwards. Oh, we move on to another Game of the Year contender from last year, and one I had an absolute blast playing. The repeatable nature of these types of games really allow me to relax and just enjoy exploring, knowing each time I'll be getting a little further or I'll be adding more money to upgrade for my next run. This is Dave the Diver, a single player RPG where you'll dive for fish and all sorts of trinkets in the day and run a sushi bar in the evening selling all the fresh catches of the day. This is one of them games that looks simple on the surface, but oh boy does it have so many layers. You'll just love playing all the extras that you find along the way. Want to bet on seahorse races? It's got you covered. Love to take pictures of marine wildlife? You bet you can do it. Dave the Diver is a game that just keeps on giving, and will keep you entertained for hours upon hours as you enjoy the bliss life of a diver. Holy smokes, now this is a game that caught me completely off guard last year. I remember seeing this in the store and being completely unsure until I played the game, and my oh my was it fantastic. This is Pizza Tower, a 2D platformer that's wacky and over the top, with a unique art style that just perfectly matches the game you play. Pizza Tower is a must for all fans of platformers, fans of pizza, fans of Italians, and fans of fantastic soundtracks for pizza-loving Italian platform games. This is one of those games where, on the surface, you might be a little confused, but once you start playing, you will never regret that you actually picked this up to play it. Definitely give it a whirl. See, I'm more of a dog person, but this game about a cat did make me go, aww, and isn't it so cute all the time. This is Stray, a cyberpunk adventure that's all about a cat that has been separated from its family after falling into a strange world and slowly trying to exit to the surface once again. You'd probably be thinking round about now, how deep will this story be when playing as a cat, right? Well, it goes deep. The story is amazing. It explains why you haven't seen a human. Instead of seeing humans, you're seeing these human-like robots. It's a future that probably could come to fruition if AI keeps getting wiser and more advanced. Stray allows you to explore this strange world, and you can interact with a lot of items. You can be annoying, you can be lovable, you can also be put straight into danger. Strange little creatures will try to take your 9 lives away from you. Stay away from them. I repeat, stay away from them. They're not good for you. Cult of the Lamb is a true gem. It is the perfect mix of base building and roguelike dungeon crawler. Oh, and of course, Cult Manager as you start your own cult and aim to become the biggest around, taking out all the false cults in the process. You'll play as a cute, adorable little lamb who has a dark and evil side when needed. Cult of the Lamb was a game me and my wife played together. She would build the base while I would go off and conquer the dungeons. But it's the satire humour that really sold us on the game. This isn't your typical run a little camp and everyone is happy kind of game. As the game goes on, you'll be able to unlock new worships that might have your beloved followers willing to do anything to be loved by you. The cult is in full swing. If you haven't heard or played the Outer Wilds yet, you're definitely missing out. This is one of the most beautiful games I have ever played, and I will no doubt go back to playing this at some point again in the future, as it lives rent-free in the back of my mind. Outer Wilds is a space exploration wonder. You'll be given 22 minutes as you're trapped in a time loop to explore and figure out more and more each time you venture out into space. This is a game that doesn't give you directions or pointers. It's down to you to discover the secrets of this universe. Voted Game of the Year by so many different publications, Outer Wilds has been a staple in the indie scene since 2019. And once you've played the game, it's easy to see why so many people still play the game today. Just sit down, relax, and enjoy whatever time you have left in your current loop. A game I actually spoke about last month, as new DLC had just been released. Now, we have the main game discounted, so I mean, surely that's a sign to get both, and go enjoy this lovable pixel adventure this weekend. This is Eastward, and this is one of those games where you will not be emotionally prepared. You'll play as John and Sam, as you journey across a world on the verge of collapsing, as the two of you try to understand where Sam came from and why she's so important. Eastward will pull on your heartstrings from minute one. Sam is an adorable child who brings smiles to everyone else around them. John, on the other hand, is a little bit more quiet, he's a little bit more retained, who keeps his cards close to his chest. Together, they form a father-daughter bond that will have you wanting them to succeed and live a happy life once this is all over. The question is, does it happen? Sometimes a game is so good, no matter the words used to describe the game will really do it much justice. And whenever I think of Inscryption, my mind races with how brilliant the game was, but the words won't be good enough to match it. Inscryption is a strange card battler, among other things. The game starts with you in a cabin, playing a card game against a strange man across from you, but you soon realise that there is a lot more to this game. It's like an onion, so many layers. The further you get in the game, the more you'll stop and have to think about what actually just happened. It's a dark and twisted world. Nothing is black and white here. Everything is in this weird grey area, where not all your questions will get answered. Next up, we have a game that has been around for quite a while now, pushing on 5 years, and we're still getting content added in forms of free updates and DLC which do add so much to the game. This is Oxygen Not Included. You do have to pay more if you want the oxygen. This is a base building colony simulator that's all about trying to survive and thrive in deep space. This is all about building your base to become the greatest place up in space. Make sure you build enough to keep everyone alive, but most importantly, build places to make the place fun. You don't want your colony to die of boredom, do you? This is actually the game that allowed me to fall in love with indie games. I remember playing this one on my Xbox, after being really excited from the trailers, and it did not disappoint at all. The story is beautiful and the gameplay is stunning. This is Ori and the Blind Forest. An atmospheric Metrovania that'll have you falling in love with the main characters and the environment all around them. Sometimes you play a game that you just wish you could unplay so you can experience it all over again with fresh eyes. The two Ori games are those games to me. A beautiful game that will have you feeling mega highs and ultra lows as the story takes hold of you and will not let go until you're feeling love for the game itself. It's crazy to me to think that following on from my first indie game, we move on to my favourite indie game of all time. This is Celeste, a pixel dream of a platformer that'll have you restarting multiple times as you try to perfect the levels. The game follows Madeline on a journey of self-acceptance and delves into some really hard-hitting issues as you try to escape from yourself being accepted for who we really are. The soundtrack will forever be my favourite of any game. I can put this on from start to finish and love the songs all over again. If you're looking for a stellar game that will make you want to try speedrunning for the first time, a game with a soundtrack that hits super hard, or a game with a beautiful story, Celeste needs to be in your basket already. Souls-like games have been getting more and more popular over the last few years, and this one has a unique selling point. It's 2D, and you also play as a rat, who is tasked with saving his kingdom from downfall. This is Tales of Iron, and you'll embark on an adventure, which might seem too big for this little rat, who will need to take down the Frog Clan, but I'm sure he'll be able to do it with our help. If the story hasn't got you excited yet, the game has been narrated by the one and only Geralt of Rivia. Doug Cockle has lended his voice to ensure the journey that you take will have a stunning voice to lead you on your way. Now we're into the biggest discounts around in this game's sale. Coming in at 85% off is Darkest Dungeon, a turn-based dungeon crawler that is all about keeping your group sane as you explore for treasures and wealth to upgrade your little town. As the game goes on, you'll slowly start to see the effects of the dark and what it can do to your group as they start to go mad with different traits that would see them actually end it all if it gets too much for them. Darkest Dungeon is unforgiving. If you make the slightest mistake, you could see your favourite characters being picked off one by one, and once killed, you'll need to look towards replacing them. The mod support for Darkest Dungeon is amazing. Modders have made whole new classes for you to acquire in the game, so if you ever want something fresh, all you'll need to do is go download a mod from the actual Steam store, nothing else needed. And now we move on to the final game of the list, and coming in at a whopping 90% off, this game is cheaper than some chips from McDonald's. This is Hellblade, Senuas Sacrifice, a third-person psychological adventure that'll have you questioning what is real and what in front of us is slowly submitting us to the madness. Set within a Viking setting, you'll play as a Celtic warrior who travels to hell itself to fight for the soul of her lost lover. This will have you fighting demons, solving puzzles, and questioning what you see most of the time. It might all be in your head after all. The sequel has already been announced and should hopefully be releasing later this year, so this is the perfect time to give this a try. And that's my pick of some of the best games that you can pick up from in the Steam Spring Sale. Let me know what you've purchased, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Bye bye!